The South Carolina Hall of Fame was founded in Myrtle Beach in 1973 to recognize and honor contemporary and past citizens who have made outstanding contributions to South Carolina's heritage, history, and progress.
Roger Milliken was born October 24, 1915, in New York City. After graduating from Yale University with a liberal arts degree, he went to work for Deering Milliken, a small northeastern textile company, in 1937. When his father died, Milliken succeeded him as president of the company, moving to Spartanburg, South Carolina in 1954.
At that point in our history, in the Greenville-Spartanburg area and the whole upstate, of course, we were mostly textiles. And I think everybody knew that we needed to diversify and have other industries in addition to textiles.
Under his leadership, Milliken Company became the world's largest privately owned textile and chemical manufacturer, known worldwide for research and development. Roger Milliken was dedicated to making his employees' lives better, and he was a leading advocate of quality control in manufacturing.
Crafted with pride, for him, meant that what his company produced was well designed, well made, but it went beyond that. It was a demonstration that made in the USA was a guarantee of quality. His policy as a leader was to ask, to listen, and to decide. He knew that everybody knew something he didn't know, and he would ask, and he would listen closely. But finally, he had to make the decision.
He was a very straightforward person. I don't ever recall having too many issues where I couldn't get a yes or no answer. He listened, and if he thought it was a good idea, he said, let's do it. And then he proceeded to provide the resources to get it done.
And detail, detail, detail. He knew you didn't make hasty decisions on a macro scale without examining where the waste baskets would go, where the electrical outlets should be located, details of that sort.
Probably the most detailed person I've ever known, but he also was a big picture person. He was a true visionary. He had a wonderful spirit. He had great enthusiasm for whatever project he undertook.
He loved the company of thoughtful young people, and he realized that the most innovative minds were often those that were not necessarily restricted by what was practical, what was possible.
Well, one of the things that I remember most in my life is meeting Mr. Milliken when I was probably about 12 years old. I would go up to New York with my parents to the Milliken breakfast show, and Milliken had, the Milliken Company had a breakfast show, and that's how they advertised their new products. They put on an actual Broadway show to advertise their products, and they brought their clients up to New York City. And that is when I met Mr. Milliken for the very first time. He was a very tall man and had red hair, bright red hair. And later on in life, I heard people call him Big Red.
He's a man of very tall stature, and that can be a little bit intimidating. But what I found in my experiences with him was his towering presence was less about stature and posture and more about what the impact of a commitment to excellence and a love of learning can have on those who are interested in engaging with you and being your friends.
He had a wonderful sense of humor. And if you knew anything at all that he didn't know, he was eager to find out what it was. And so conversation with him was always enormously invigorating.
You also knew that if you went into a meeting with Mr. Milliken, that he could outlast you in a meeting. So you better be prepared when you went into the meeting, because you would get tired before he got tired.
And it was that energy, that avid interest in everything that was going on around him that made him an absolutely unforgettable leader. Roger Milliken actually had a very highly developed aesthetic sense, and it happened that both architecture and landscaping were the fields that most captured his imagination. Any architect who ever worked with him knew his extraordinary eye for detail, his unbelievable perspicacity when it came to the way a structure would relate to its surroundings.
We would often talk about great architects, great buildings, and I think that's what brought us together in terms of the interest in LEED certified architecture and helping to build green environments, green space in the greater Spartanburg community.
Of course, he was a great tree planter. He planted trees all over the place.
He loved noble trees. He founded the Noble Tree Foundation, and he loved planning the Wofford campus as it grew and changed.
When I think about Mr. Milliken, I always think about green space and trees. How are trees, the different canopy of trees, are being properly maintained and properly added to so that the green space was as important as the built space on our campus.
Roger Milliken was a trustee of this college for 50 years and undertook to make it the best small liberal arts college in the South.
Mr. Milliken's contributions to Converse College have had a significant impact on the growth of this institution, its vision for excellence, as well as has made a significant impact on the lives of countless students.
The Greenville-Spartanburg community today enjoys the rich legacy of Roger Milliken's vision and leadership.
You understand immediately what Mr. Milliken's most indelible contribution was. It set the bar higher than it would have been for this community or any other, especially in the American South at that time.
He understood the importance of aviation, the importance of a strong airport and an international airport to a community in order to generate business development.
I think it would be very hard for anyone for many, many years to live in this area without being grateful to Mr. Milliken.
Roger Milliken died December 30th, 2010. His epitaph reads simply, Builder.
He was very generous, and he was just a great man. That's my words for him. Great man.